Violence. So many different lenses to look through when discussing violence. In no particular order, I first take a look at my identities, what makes me me. As a female, I think of the violence that plagues women in relationships, domestic violence, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. My own triggers and traumas surface and come to mind briefly. I think of the experiences of my loved ones who have faced unimaginable events where violence ensued and caused harm. I think of my own mother who was beaten by her first husband and the rippled effects that have seared her relationships and the relationships of my brothers, her sons, and how they've poured out into me. I think of feminism, empowerment, and treatment and prevention. I think of the related topics that are associated with violence, risk factors. I think of alcoholism, drug addiction, mental illness, and exposure. As a social worker, when thinking of violence, I think of all the students I work with and the future clients I will have in my lifetime, what tiered supports look like outside of the school system and even the school system itself for those who exhibit aggression. My mind immediately shifts to a problem-solving model, treatment, therapy, and of course prevention. With a sociological background, I think of deviance in people and society, the causes of violence, and if humans can actually be evil, all evil. As a Latina, my first thoughts on violence focus on resources and accessibility to those things for minorities who experience violence. What violence looks like for different cultures and how relationships differ amongst those as well. I look at my own family, my father's side, and different roles everyone had through the generations. I look at key concepts and prevention as well. Things like communication, openness, vulnerability, and advocacy. As someone who sees herself as spiritual, maybe even religious in some contexts, I reflect on my faith and a higher power. I think about violence historically and how God sees these things and lets them manifest. How violence is a result of sin. I'm not sure. I think of compassion, forgiveness, love, and the lack thereof. It all just comes to mind. Ultimately, in violence, I feel that my heart and mind see theories of why it happens, preventative strategies and treatment modalities, but above all else, empathy for victims and reflection of my own experiences.